We're staying right by that Trump Tower, and everybody in my crew has taken a picture like this of Trump, but I can't say it either. I think Hillary Clinton's a piece of shit, too.
Inherited a lot of my dad's musical tastes and records.
Struggling with, addiction problems in the past and stuff like that. That was my way to do it before,
I think it was my dad's Charvel bass. It's like a white, pointy Charvel bass. Oh, it was super sick.
A lot of the best riffs came out of early punk,
And then bands like Black Flag and Bad Brains,
Circle
Dead
Jerk.
Kennedys, and just like really inventive stuff,
I played guitar throughout my whole life, even through, hard times, juvenile delinquency, and just everywhere I could get my hands on one. So, and that's what, I always knew it'd be what I did for a living. So, Born in Detroit. A lot of my family worked for the auto industry, and then my dad kind of got out and went to college, so we went to Boston for a couple years for him to go to. He did really good in school. He went to Harvard. Then he moved us out to Colorado, and I spent most of my childhood in Colorado. There's like a divorce and all that, so me and my mom ended up we were kind of trailer park people, for a really long time.
Well, I grew up in Seattle. Some of my earliest childhood memories were my dad blasting records in the house. Inherited a lot of my dad's musical tastes and records. He was really into Arthur Brown, Groundhogs, King Crimson, Captain Beefheart. Then, kind of more traditional like 60s and 70s rock stuff, Cream, Zeppelin, Sabbath, Blue Cheer. Jethro Tull was a big one.
When I was a kid, my uncle and my grandpa used to play guitar for me a lot, and, it just kind of sunk in. So the minute I had hands big enough to like play guitar, I wanted to play guitar, My mom had an acoustic laying around, and I was about 8 years old, and I just started banging on it left and right, and MTV came out around then, so like when I was a kid I watched MTV, and then I'd try to like emulate what I saw or whatnot. AC/DC or I forgot who was out then. Later on, it was like Sabbath, and there wasn't ever too much Floyd on there, nothing like that. But just and what was in my dad's record collection and stuff like that, Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and all that kind of good stuff. So I played guitar throughout my whole life, even through hard times, juvenile delinquency, and just everywhere I could get my hands on one. So. And that's what, I always knew it'd be what I did for a living, so,
Around like 9 or 10, I remember my dad's a bass player as well, and picked up a bass that he had laying around the house and started messing around with it. And he showed me a couple of things, showed me how to play like Dazed and Confused. Like, oh wow, this is cool, man. I pretty much taught myself just like listening to records and playing along to like Cream and Zeppelin and Sabbath. And that's kind of how I learned how to play.
I went to a community college just to like further my education in it a little bit. Like it's like jazz improv and theory, and other than that I was always infatuated with like blues, bluegrass. I was infatuated with classical. I still like, after being at 100,000 metal shows in 1 year, like I drive around, I just put on classical. Because I had the teacher I had actually had gone to Juilliard for classical and then switched up to jazz. That guy gave me a lot of information, about the guitar itself. And he was actually my neighbor, so I'd go over there and jam with him sometimes. And then, I don't know, there was a few influences. There's this dude named Jeff Bolt, and when I was a kid in Colorado, I used to go over to his house after school, and he was like this stoner dude. And, I was about 12 or 13 at the time. I'd go over there and I'd bring him weed, and then I'd sit there and smoke, and I'd watch that dude play, and it was like endless source of information for me too, so I put so much effort into it. Eventually my mom saved up and bought me an electric, which was like this crazy flaming Hondo like destroyer guitar. It was like,
I think it was my dad's Charvel bass. It's like a white, pointy Charvel bass. Oh, it was super sick. Which I later traded for a Gibson EB3. She would show me like Cream riffs and Zeppelin riffs. And then that grew from there, like later on I discovered bands like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. And then punk rock came along. And
even if you're into metal and stuff, a lot of the best riffs came out of early punk, It's
Absolutely.
just simplicity and 3-chord punk. It's like somehow, I mean, well, I guess some of that AC/DC was like that too. It's like sometimes if you just let the things ring.
And then bands like Black Flag and Bad Brains, and
Circle
Dead
Jerks.
Kennedys, just like really inventive stuff, you know.
I write good stuff when I'm really,
yeah,
when
so
my
you're-
life sucks and I'm really pissed off at everything. That's usually where
So you're
a lot of the high on fire shit comes from. Yeah, but I usually do a lot of reading, a lot of research, and then I kind of combine that with a lot of metaphoric parallels that can, you know, combine like what happens in my life and what's reality, and then what I choose to explain reality as in some sort of esoteric fantasy term, you know, metaphor. You know, it's a lot of reading and studying and researching on my part, and I like to ask these dudes, I'm like, are there themes? Like me and him, he brought this last one, we actually started tuning to 432 because we started like looking into cymetics and the way that vibrations actually affect people's heads. Because if you think about it, all life comes from vibration first, and then hologram, you know, and then like what is around us, you know, and how we perceive it. I don't know, man. Just breathing meditation, a little prayer, a little, you know, just getting to your spiritual self, you know, and then a lot of times, you know, if you're, you know, exercise and taking care of your body like that will lead up into like some sort of spiritual feelings, you know, and like, I don't know, struggling with, you know, addiction problems in the past and stuff like that. That was my way to do it before, you know, and like, you got to take a step back and like sober yourself up and, you know, take it easy for a minute so that you can grow that way, you know, and like you can grow this way, because it's a spiritual instrument. It goes from heart to head to hand to, you know, comes out the amps, and that, you know, that directly affects a lot of the people who listen to you, you know. So I'm trying to be present and not think about the future too much, because if I think about the future, all I can think about is doom, which is good for music and stuff like that, and I'll probably get into that once I start writing lyrics and stuff, but I don't know. They didn't give us much to vote for, so I didn't vote. We're staying right by that Trump tower, and everybody in my crew has taken a picture like this of Trump, but I can't say it either. I think Hillary Clinton's a piece of shit too. I don't think there is better, I think there's just different.
Yeah.
And I think like it's a process and it's an evolution, you know, of yourself and who you're working with. Like, you know, we've been working with them for a long time, and like it, you know, and everybody in my life, I'm very fortunate to work with like pretty much the best musicians on the planet. And so I'm just trying to keep up with that. Like, you know, if they're not gonna let me down, I'm not gonna let them down, kind of thing.